Hi, my name is Naya Jones, and the book that I will be reviewing today is Divergent by Veronica Roth. So, I really love this book. This book has 487 pages, and it was published in April 26, 2011. So, I really love this book. The genre is like science fiction, I would say. And the award that the book won was Best Fiction Young Adult Book. And I really liked that because I love Veronica Roth as an author. I think she writes amazing books. Divergent, Insurgent. I love all of them. So yeah. So speaking of the characters, Tris Pryor. It's Tris Pryor, Tobias Eaton, and Janine Matthews. So Janine Matthews being the antagonist, and then Tris Pryor being the protagonist. So Tris Pryor was born into it. I'm sorry, the book is based off of a dystopian society where, in Chicago, where there's factions. So each faction has its basically own strength. Well, like people have their own strengths and stuff. So there's a faction where it's about intelligence or being lawyer or selflessness or farming, different things like that. So Tris was born into a faction of selflessness. So at a certain age, these characters are able to pick which faction they would like to be in. And so Tris was able to pick Dauntless, which is quite the opposite actually, and I kind of thought that was funny. Dauntless is known for being dangerous, risk-taking, like daring and things like that. So of course that kind of brought up controversial thoughts about Tris, which leads me to the themes that I wanted to bring up, that I had seen in the book. So my first theme that I had written down was courage and fear. So I feel like throughout this book, Tris started out kind of as a timid girl, and throughout the book she had a lot of character development. And so in identity and self-discovery was also another theme of mine, because she kind of got all these different attributes in one book and it was kind of cool. So I feel like she started out timid and she grew into such a confident and courageous young woman, and I really liked that because she also fought for what she believed in, and I liked that as well. She was a really strong protagonist in this book, and even when people seemed to be questioning her actions or questioning her thought processes, it's like she stayed confident in her choice making, and I liked that because it could be hard staying confident in your choice making when you have loved ones and family members and people that are close to you that are kind of questioning what you have going on. And so I liked that. And so also social class and control was a big thing that I had seen, because in a society of perfection, Tris was able to point out the imperfections in their society. And so whereas we would see organization, we would see a society that was meant for order turned into such chaos, we would say, and Tris was able to kind of point that out and spot that. And so also I feel like the book shed light on the impacts of a divided society on individual freedom. And so I thought that was all very cool. Some of the things that I really liked about this book was how fast-paced it was and engaging it was for a reader to read. They kind of, in the beginning, I would have thought that it would have been more of a slower start, but they kind of started very quickly and it was very engaging from the beginning. I am one with a very short attention span, so I need something that's gonna grasp my attention quickly and keep my attention, and I feel like this book did a very good job on doing that. I kind of was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and I feel like being a person who I was able, and I had the privilege to see the movie and read the book, so I was able to do both, whereas some people just watch the movie or just read the book. I was very surprised because I am a big movie buff. However, I really liked the book a lot more than the movie. Um, the movie was good because it gave me some imagery. It gave me a face to put with the name. So when I read Tris or Tobias or Janine, anybody, I was able to kind of put a face with the name, and I liked that part. However, I feel that the book was very detailed. The book was very like well thought out. I feel like it explained things in depth, and we kind of needed that, especially for such a complicated or complex book like this. We needed an in-depth book because it was able to, had I not seen the movie, I think just reading the book I still would have been able to imagine it. And I liked that because with some books it's kind of hard to imagine things, especially complex books like this. So I really liked that. Kind of wrote some bullet point notes down. I liked, like how I said before, I liked how strong of a protagonist Tris was. She just kind of stood firm on her beliefs, and I really liked Tris. It was funny because I did do some research on the book and I read some reviews, and a lot of people surprisingly didn't like Tris and didn't like her character, but I really liked her character because I feel like she had such a great character development throughout the story, and I like how they kind of focused on that. They focused on mental health a lot, and I'm a very big mental health advocate, and so I kind of liked that. Let's see, I really, if I had to rate it, I would give it a 4 out of 5. I just think it's amazing, and I liked how they showed, like, in each society, no matter what world we live in, there's always going to be an imperfection in such a perfect society or a perfect world, but it has to do with perception, because where what we see may not be the case, and I liked how the book kind of reiterated that. And so when talking about the protagonist and antagonist, I feel like in the book they didn't really talk about Janine a lot. Like, they did speak about Janine towards the end of the book, but that's once the action kind of picked up. I noticed throughout the movie, Janine kind of was a character throughout the whole movie, but in the book they shed light on her towards the end, in like the feud between her and Tris, and so that was kind of interesting to me, because I expected her to be throughout the whole entire book, like kind of all their characters had to have equal roles and like play throughout the book, and that wasn't the case. But I really liked that because I liked how I was able to go in with assumptions, and the book was like, nope. And I enjoyed that. I kind of like things like that. So between Tris and Tobias, I would say Tobias Eaton being another, which also known as Four. His name in the book mainly is Four. Tobias Eaton is just his real kind of government name. But there, I always love a good romance story, so I really liked their dynamic throughout the book. It kind of was like a slow start, but I liked it. I also liked how he was like a tough love kind of guy, but he stood with her through like the rough patches. He stood with her when she was ready to kind of like fight for what she believed in and fight for what she wanted and for people to be treated right and stuff like that. He was right there with her, and I liked that a lot. And so overall, I didn't really get bored with this book because I think I was so excited to read it that it was hard for me to get bored with it. I had a great time reading it. Like I said, 4 out of 5, if not 5 out of 5. Veronica Roth is an amazing author. I love her, and she did wonderful with this book. So I would recommend this to readers all around. The book kind of, it targets, like, I would say a teenage audience to like a young adult audience, so I would say like 16 to like 25. I don't know, I just think that like teenage to young adult. So other than that, if there was anything that I could change, I don't think I would change anything, honestly. I really like how the book played out. I like the hidden messages and the very upfront messages that they gave. I like how they showed the society and how it was ran, because I compared it to our society, and like I found that problems they had then is problems that we kind of face now. And so I had a great time reading this book. 10 out of 10. I loved it.